All right. So, welcome to another episode of Dreams Unveiled. And the person I'm with today should not be a stranger to anybody. He is Mike Capoletti, and he joined us, uh, I think, 5 episodes ago. You'll have to look up his dream. It was really terrific. It had happened shortly after he really got saved and found Jesus. And the dream really was talking about shutting doors and changes in his life that were coming forth. Now, after we did the unveiling of the dream, he is here now to share the sequel, which is a series of dreams that happened the week after. So we are going to let him share about these dreams. Thank you for joining us, Mike.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here again. I'll do it as many times as I can, as long as I can.
You have enough dreams to keep me in business for probably the duration. So
I'm definitely getting ready to write a book.
I think it's awesome. And speaking of book, I just want to let everybody know I am going to be releasing, it'll be on dawnw.com on the store page, very inexpensive, but it'll be a dream journal that you can purchase and use to record your dreams. And hopefully, the next step is I'll be working on an app if you're like me and just want to be lazy and talk into your phone because I never want to wake up enough to lose my sleep. That's really what it is. I'm a selfish sleeper. So but those two things will be coming, so keep a lookout and I'll announce when they are available. But with that said, Mike, I am going to ask, share your and this is like a series of dreams. This happened over a period of nights,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. My dreams tend to do that. They'll tend to go for 3 or 4 days of like the same, like a chapters. My dreams happen in chapters. And this was definitely a chapter.
That's fantastic. That really is. So, you know, watch the lucid dreaming episodes because imagine if you're doing chapter dreams and you could actually control the outcome.
Yeah, that would be something.
That would be
I,
some,
I, it's definitely something I need to work on for sure.
yeah.
But so the first part of these dreams that I had had in the weeks after this were the first one I had been in trapped in this room that was a dark room. Well, the room was like a golden light, darkish haze, but I was in like probably 100,000 people. And there was a pulpit in the very center of the room. And there was a pastor that was very dim, or a preacher or somebody very dim. He was pointing to everybody in the crowd and giving them a number. Whatever their number, I was popping up and popping up. And I was terrified in this dream. This dream, the first dream was, I was scared again. Like terrified. Like I thought my nightmares were over, but this dream had me scared again. I had no way out. There was no way to find out. And everybody in this dream was blackish. They were not like race, but they were like a shadow. I only saw like the backs of their heads. I had a very bad view of the preacher. I had no, I couldn't feel much, but I was felt terrified. And he went around the entire room giving a number, and he missed over me. And I didn't know that there was a sign about the numbers. And the second dream, the very following night, I found myself back in that same place. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm in this dream again. I'm like, why do I keep having these dreams, the same ones over and over again? And he kept pointing around the room over and over and over. And I started catching on. Maybe he's telling something that I didn't know. And he pointed to everybody, gave them all a number. And at the very last part of the dream, he literally pointed at me and I saw his finger, just like in the TV, come right up me. He said, and you are 626. And I woke up and I had to research it and I look in the Bible. And the next night was very similar dreams. Um, the 2 nights in a row was the same confusion. I had no idea what was going on. And when he told me I had 626, I felt comfort. I felt better. I felt like, oh, it's a relief. Like I'm not 666 if I'm the devil or something. Like I wasn't as nervous for that dream. And then after that dream had happened the following night, which was probably the third or fourth night, I was in a similar type room, but there wasn't as many people, and it was bright, bright gold, and it was just me, and I was drained right out, wiped out to my core. I couldn't. I had nothing left of me. There wasn't an ounce of energy left in me, and I was literally like crying. I said, I need you to help me come out of here. I said, just somebody bring me, let me go. I need to get out of here. I need it. I need to get out of here like right now. And it just was the whole time I was in this golden room. It was I was drained. I was suffocating. I was just cramped. And then I finally just turned to Jello and said, "All right, I give up. I just give up. I'm done with this dream." And I let the dream just keep going. And this little cherub guy picks me right up, comforted me, and carried me to when I woke up that morning. And I came awake and realized the TV was on, the dog was barking, and I was so relieved that it was only a dream, but it still felt like I was in a dream. Like my dreams feel so real. Like I can't get over how I get confused sometimes that if I'm in a dream or am I awake? I can't decipher them anymore. Like they're it could be I'm in another realm. I'm in another life. It's I I don't know how to make I can't make day or light out of them, no pun intended, but I sometimes don't know where I am anymore in these dreams.
Well, so I have some questions, okay?
Yeah,
So first of all, the second night when you were in the same dream in the scary room,
yeah.
were you afraid like you were the first night?
Very similar to afraid. I was less afraid each night I was in that room. The third night I was in that room was when I finally got my number and I felt relieved.
Okay. So I wonder if the fear was really because you did not have the number. You did not have, you're watching everybody get numbers and and you are being looked over, right? And I think, and if you think about that, that almost goes along with the dream that we looked at last time, where you
Yep.
thought it was a real scary situation and you're finding yourself in these bad situations, but it was really doors closing on your past, that it's done, right? And so
Right.
now let's look at the symbolism of the room. The It's a gold room, even though it's hazy.
It was a hazy, but yeah, it was gold. Definitely a golden light, but it was a dim, but it might have been, like I said, so dim because there was so many people in there.
Well, and it could have been, and maybe that even might symbolize that not all of the people were, you know, um, had the same outcome that you did, right?
Right, right,
And
right.
so it could have been. So you were actually in the dream thinking this was some kind of a cult thing, right?
Absolutely. It was cult like. That was, I think, the first night was super cult like. Like I couldn't get out of that thought. And then the second night, I'm like, oh my God, I'm back to this cult again. I'm like, what am I doing in here? And I thought my dreams were getting better because I had given myself to Christ, and my dreams started to get better. And then I found myself wrapped back up in this crazy, stuck in a cult dream again.
So I think, so let's talk about what this really could mean. So in the dream, first of all, the gold room, especially because there was a pulpit in there, uh, very likely is related to divine intervention, um, just spiritual blessing. It really, and obviously gold, is going to be relative to what it means to you. Okay.
Mhm.
But I think the whole image of this gold room, this pulpit, uh, really speaks to some kind of divine intervention or blessing or something like that. So I think that, that comes that way. But here you are, fearing for your life in a room that
Oh yeah.
that, right? Isn't that strange? So let's look at now the haziness that was in the room. You know, um, that darkness, right? It ultimately was a darkness. It was a dim
Mhm.
room, right? The gold is
Yeah.
bright and shiny. It is very dim, and uh, and I feel. I wasn't sure how to interpret that. I suppose I could look up what is black hazy, and get some information.
It
But
was very dingy. It was a very dingy room, almost like if you were in a smoky bar, but like the walls were light. They are not light, but like the light. They were not necessarily the color. The color of gold was like a gold like the sun. Like there was the walls were like in a cloudy sun.
okay. So so I think part of that is you know, if you look at the final, not the final dream, the dream with the angel, cherub, whatever, pulling you out, that room was the same, but it had no haziness in it, right? It was just bright.
Oh no, that was vibrantly golden. Like every surface in that room was a vibrantly gold. Like almost everything I was standing on was golden. Like you could tell it was gold in that room.
So because of that, and because these dreams progressed, what I actually believe is, and I could be wrong, but I believe that the dreams really were a progression. And in the early dreams, it wasn't just people coming to, I think the numbers were an assignment, okay? Were assignments, and not everybody probably got one. And so there were probably people that knew the Lord and were there uh, to receive an assignment. And that probably,
Most of
go ahead.
most of the people that were in the dream getting their numbers were ecstatic. Like they were excited. They felt I could feel that they felt good, but I was terrified.
Okay.
I was not comfortable in this place at all.
And it wasn't everybody, not everybody got a number.
No. There's
And
way too many people to get numbers if they all. It was only out of the each night. I think there was 20 numbers given out.
okay. And so here, so you're terrified. You see people getting numbers and being, ecstatic, but you're not getting a number. There's all these people. It's hazy, it's uncomfortable, too many people, you don't know what's going on. So I think that, that instilled some fear. And the second night, you went through pretty much the same thing, except you got that number. And that's why I think,
The third night I got the number. The
oh,
second
third
night
night.
was the second night I was more. I think in this I was less scared the second night, but there was I almost had a feeling that something was supposed to happen. You know, like there was like I was anticipating something the second night.
Okay.
The third night is when I got my number, and then it was each progression was better and better. Like the night I got my number, I felt better. Like I almost felt like I was going to get that number, but I was kind of scared what number it was going to be because I didn't know what the numbers were pertaining to. You know, so
Well, I think it's quite uncanny that you so for 2 nights you had this fear, but that fear started to lift. The third night you're watching, it's same thing all over again,
yeah.
except you got a number. And if I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken, when the number was assigned to you, the number was the
626, if that says anything, but
yep, 626. And actually, so one of the things that you did, I'm going to share this because I'm looking up that scripture right now, is you
right.
went to the book of Numbers
The book of Numbers,
and you looked up.
chapter 6, verse 26.
So we are going to do that right now. And here's what it says. Let me get a different version. Oh no, I didn't need to do that. Hang on a minute. No, don't go back. 626. Um, all right. Here it is. May the Lord show you his favor and give you peace. So 626 is actually part of a blessing that Aaron gave to the people in the wilderness, in the desert, that were following Moses. And Aaron, this was part of the bigger blessing. So, so that may the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace is really quite, it's beautiful. And I know one of the things that you shared is that you started going through other books and looking up chapter and
Yeah.
verse 26, and we're getting similar encouragements and messages.
Hmm.
So I think
Yep.
that, is meaningful. What's really meaningful about that is you derive that without me, which means that that is probably the right answer, that there is probably a lot of merit to that. So
Yep.
626, part of the blessing that Aaron proclaimed over the Jewish people, uh,
Yep.
that that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So now this is night three, and as soon as you got that number, and I do still think it's an assignment, and we'll talk more
Yeah.
about that. Uh, that and for anybody that really wants to put this all together, watch the earlier Dream with Mike. I really can't remember exactly the episode, so I would really encourage you to look at this because in
Yes.
a nutshell, so here's what we have so far. We have here you are, and you're having this dream that seemed like a nightmare. It didn't seem like anything really good, but it was really about doors closing. Your past is now those doors are shut to your old way of life, the way that your old way of thinking, how you were doing things, and and you are emerging into something new. And then
Hmm.
we get to this place, this room, and assignments were being given, but not everybody was called to an assignment. Not everybody was called to a number. And 3 nights, and I think that that was, from the standpoint of, you know, of really the Lord, just really you had to be patient,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You had to
Yeah.
wait. You
Yeah.
and you had to endure like not knowing and really having to trust and not understanding how this was going to play out. So I think there was, that there was some intentionality in that. And yes, do I believe God gives dreams to people? Absolutely. There's no question in my mind about that. So the idea, I realize that you frequently may have sequels that run a series over a period of
Yeah.
time.
It's weird, but that's what they do. Almost every dream that I can guarantee I remember has got a dream that happened before, and the next night, and the next night, and then it's like by the fourth dream, which is like the one I told you that's with the cherub. I'm on another set of dreams, so like I can't even unveil those yet because I don't know them all. I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't know where they're coming. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I got to find out. Like I'll go and I'll pray before I go to bed tonight. Now that I'm realizing something's going on, and I'm going to find out, and I'll have to write it down for you so you can help me explain it.
So, well, I think, yeah, definitely write it down. I think,
Yeah,
what we're seeing here is so you've been given an assignment. Okay, this is what I think, and I think that the blessing that it pointed to really very much fits, right?
yeah,
That the Lord has given favor to you and all of that. I think this is really profound and beautiful. So now
mhm.
let's go to the fourth.
Yep. The fourth night.
And the fourth night is interesting. First of all, there's a lot less people, which goes to
Yep.
show that not everybody got an assignment.
Nope. Nope. It almost felt like there might have been five or six other people in there with me, but I was the only one that was extremely exhausted and given up. I didn't have any fight left in me per se. I was turning into mush. And like I could almost feel myself being the black shadow in the nights before. Like I didn't feel as if I had full life in me anymore. I was drained. I gave up. I had none, and I was begging and crying. Told him I need to get out of here. I just need to go home. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know why I'm here. I don't, and still don't. I haven't tried to do any research on this part of the dream yet because it got me good. But I finally was woken up as the little cherub guy finally picked me up and comforted me on the way out to wherever we were going. He grabbed me by my little leather straps because I wear leather suspenders, and he picked me up by the back of my straps and he flew and carried me out. And next thing I know, the TV was on, the dogs were barking, I was waking up, the sun was up, and I had a horrible night's sleep that night, but I don't know why, but I was done. I had enough. I wanted out of that dream, even though it wasn't a terrifying dream. It was just like emotionally in that dream, I was whooped.
So so here are some possibilities. If we're looking at this as being, something, where the Lord is pouring something into you, it could very well be that your assignment's not going to be an easy assignment.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, that's really it. If we're all in this for God, then we're all in this for God, right? And we understand that, when you become a Christian, it doesn't mean that your life is all sunshine and roses, right?
Right.
That's not the
Right.
expectation. The expectation is being kingdom minded and loving people and loving God and trying to be obedient to what he's saying to you. And he's speaking to you in dreams. So I first of all the fact that that room was really bright gold and everything in it was bright gold
So
really is almost like a purification process that the the hazy people are not quite present there
yeah.
anymore, correct?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. I could see the floors. I could see the walls. And any of the furniture that was in that room was gold. Like, and it was the cherub was dressed in gold. I was like the only object that I felt was like a shadow in that room. Like the 5 or 6 people that were in there, I could see them. I could see what they were. I could see their color. I could see their shapes. I was the only one that was like a shadow.
Okay. So so that's really interesting. Makes me wonder, did you get to visit, a heavenly place, right? It's pretty
I
cool.
could have. I don't know.
Your dreams, I don't know, but
It
here's
was. It felt like a glorious room. Like it was a wonderful room, but I was not in shape to be in that room. I did not feel as though I belonged in that room. I did not. I was uncomfortable, even though I wasn't scared. I was just like, it was like I had literally worked a 72-hour shift.
okay.
Almost like as I had worked those 3 nights, I had those dreams, and the fourth night I went into that room and I was just exhausted. I was exhausted mentally, physically. I didn't know anything about what was going on, and I felt so out of place.
Well, so being in that room was a humbling experience for you, it sounds to me like.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And and the thing is that you went to that room after you were given your assignment, right?
absolutely. The very as soon as I got that number, the very next night was the room. I was in the giant, vibrantly golden room, and it was just incredible. It felt good, but then it was like I don't belong here. I don't. What am I? Don't. Why am I here? I got again. Like, what are these? Why are my dreams so real? And I couldn't tell if I was like I can't. I when I dream in these dreams, I can't tell if I'm sleeping. I feel so awake in these dreams.
So well, so the other people looked alive and vibrant, not
Yeah,
like shadows. Okay.
they were the same happy that when the people that were getting the numbers in the last dreams, their aura was the same happy go lucky. I'm yay, let's do this. Wahoo! And I was not having any of it. I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like I had to, but I felt out of place.
So and you were a shadow person in the dream.
Yep. Yep.
Like okay.
Like
So
if I looked at my hands were black. Like if I was to look in a mirror, I would have been a shadow. I
and
could feel myself a shadow.
so you know what could that mean? So let's take a look at this, okay? Um Shadows and dreams. First of all, let's go back to the very first dream. All of the people were shadows. Were you a shadow?
Every one of us.
You too.
Yep, I was even a shadow. Yep.
Okay. So, you know, there is a possibility, and I'm throwing this out there, you could think about this, that all of those people, I know you've described as like 100,000 people, places just packed with,
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
have could have all represented or been you, some facet of you. And and the shadow could have been like an inner darkness, right? But then you got your number, you got your assignment. And then following that, um the shadow stuff was all gone except for, what actually remained in you. And if you think about, walking, with the Lord after we get saved, doesn't mean that we can't sin, right? It just means that it's much harder to do so than it has been in the past, right?
Right.
And so it seems to me that, you're on your assignment, you're doing things, but you're a shadow person. In other words, there's still this little bit of, stuff in you. I feel like that dream was maybe a bit of a sanctification process, okay? A cleansing process. And so this angel came and recognized that you were pretty much spent. There was nothing left to give. You were in that place, and really just carried you home
Yeah.
to your bed, right?
Yep.
It seems like it didn't, the way you express it, it didn't feel like the angel's like, okay, you definitely don't belong here. I'm taking you
Oh
back.
no, it was the angel of the cherub or whatever was super, super comforting. Like it was a, oh, thank you. Like I can, okay, thank you. And then, like you said, it felt like he brought me back home, laid me in my bed, and I woke up, and that's yesterday.
So picture this, as far as the shadow could represent all your fears, and it is, you're going on a scary walk. You really don't know what God really wants from you beyond, scripturally. He wants me to love people. He wants me to obey
Right.
his commands and stuff. But what is, we all have a purpose to glorify God, but what is the call on your life? And I think that's being revealed to you through these dreams. So, so here we are, and whatever happened, it just wore you right down. But God is faithful. And so, an angelic presence picked you up and comforted you, and it took care of you and brought you to a place where you could rest and feel safe. So,
Yeah.
I think that is something that no matter what you find yourself in, that's something you can always expect from God, right? It
I
just,
think so.
yeah. And so I think that that's really what that was. So I think, you know, these are hard times, and you may be doing some pretty hard work. Uh, but God's showing you he is going to be faithful to you and steadfast in his nature, and it's really quite a beautiful thing. So now
Yeah.
we're going to go to the next dream that seems unrelated, but now I know it's not. If we're looking at this as, um, going forward as this being, something very put together, a story, if you will, and the other things the shadow people could represent. I mean, they could be people that were not saved, but that wouldn't make sense for you to become that. So it could represent, like I said, fear, repressed emotions, any of that. But the room is really important too, because the room represents something that clear. First of all, it represents mental clarity. It absolutely represents new beginnings. And I think that's what that was supposed to be, is that this is a new beginning. You got an assignment, you're now getting refreshed by the Lord, and which means that, well done, good and faithful servant, that it may represent that you are answering the call, so to speak, okay? And that's just my interpretation, but you know what? You need to take all this and pray and really talk to God about it, and he will reveal.
Mhm.
Honestly, he's just going to reveal it through dreams. So then share with the last dream you shared with me, because I now see where that is actually part of this.
when I was on the motorcycle.
Yep.
So the last dream I had was on a motorcycle, and I had been told to ride around and tell everybody that, telling this guy that. And I was told to disciple off the motorcycle. And then I woke up and found a motorcycle chapter.
Okay. And so basically, in a nutshell, uh, what you're really saying, that what I'm hearing you say is that, maybe this form of ministry is part of the call, right? That
Yeah.
God has for you, that He's
Yeah.
taking you into ministry in some capacity, and here is a way for you to start that journey. And you're being obedient as soon as you had that dream and you felt that call and you heard that word, you started looking up Christian motorcycle clubs.
Yeah.
And so I think, as long as you're being faithful, when you know that God is telling you something, you're pursuing it in faith. And you will find that those doors just keep opening and opening for you as long as you stay on that path. So I'm really excited to see where this will lead. We've been talking about things like, you going to school and to
Hmm.
really gain some uh, knowledge and find some opportunities for ministry. And I think that's just going to land in your lap. If this is a call that He has, He'll make a way, plain and simple.
Yeah. I
So,
think that's what's happening.
yeah. So you start out, in this like hazy, fearful place, uh, where uh, there look if the darkness was all sin, then it was far more sin than it was,
Yeah.
right, the bright people. And then, but then but I think that 3 nights really represented sanctification, and you got your assignment, and then next thing you know, you're in this beautiful gold room. And if you read accounts of heaven, that there is a lot of gold in heaven, and the
Yeah.
colors are, and this from people that have had near death experiences and things like that, that the colors are so vibrant and bright, they defy uh, any kind of explanation,
Yeah.
the explanation of the same colors. It's like not comparable to the
Hmm.
colors that we see here.
Yeah. Kind of like in my experiences in life in general, knowing that the people that go and see the afterlife and then get a chance to come back and they say how wonderful and glorious it is. That's almost why I think I was scared then, maybe because that room was so glorious that I thought maybe I was dying and I didn't want, it wasn't time. And maybe that's why I get so scared at night when I'm sleeping because they're so real that I'm nervous that it's it. That's it. Where am I going after this? I don't know.
So I'm wondering, are you having, you know, lucid dreams, prophetic dreams, but when you are dreaming, you're questioning whether or not you're dreaming, correct?
Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
so you're dreaming, but they're too real to be dreams to you.
It's hard for me to decipher
Okay.
reality and dream world when I'm in these dreams. They're just it's like I'm in the same place.
Okay. Yeah, that is really significant. I really think that this is setting you on a new course, right? So
I hope so.
I think that golden room could have been, from heavenly places, especially because, an angel had to carry you home. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that from a symbolic standpoint, one of the things last week we were talking about in the lucid dreaming is that there can be double and triple meaning in the symbolism in our dreams. So,
Okay.
so part of the symbolism of that bright gold room, that just so bright, uh, could be a new beginning. I mean, that could be a symbolism, and that's I think a bit of a theme going on in these dreams, right? This is a new beginning. I have a feeling that your life is about to change profoundly. So,
Huh.
and maybe like if we were to mark on the calendar this day and got back together in a year and talked about it, I have a feeling your life would be very different than where it is now. And so I look forward to really seeing what God is going to do through you.
I I'm kind of curious myself because I like to know, and that's could be a lot of my problems too, because I like to know what's going on, and these things are like I don't know.
No, but you know what? You also need to trust him.
Hmm.
So, so while since you are, these dreams are that alive when you're in the dream, really tell yourself, if Jesus is there, you don't have to be afraid.
I'm
And
going to work on that.
I want you to work on that. And one of the things that you can do is start telling yourself that while you're awake. One of the lucid dreaming techniques is to practice things while you're awake so that it's in your memory, so that you can reach for those things in the dream. So I really do want you to do that. That just very beautiful. I can't wait to hear more. So I
I
just,
love talking about it. It's just one of my, if anything, in this realm of my life, my reality, I really like talking about them because sometimes they get you thinking.
they sure do. And I hope, like I said, some of the stuff I really don't have an answer to, but you pray about that and see where it leads you. And
Yeah,
you know, you'll get an answer for everything you're supposed to have an answer to, right?
I've been doing an awful lot of praying lately because I know somebody's telling me something, and I think that's what's up.
Yep. I think that's
I
what's
just And I hope anybody who's watching your shows can understand that there's more than if they're thinking the same things I'm thinking, that there is a reason that Jesus talks to us. And if he's talking to us, don't shut him out.
that's right.
Listen to him and embrace what he's got to say because it's real and it's real good. It's just like the gospel. It's the good truth and the truth, the word, the good word. It's got to be good because then when I wake up and I'm relieved, so it can't be bad.
No, I agree 100%. So with that said, I want to thank you so much, Mike. This was pretty awesome. And
Absolutely.
and I want to, thank everybody for watching. Like and subscribe. Bill's not here to say like and subscribe, so I will do his role in the video. Like and subscribe.
Like, like and subscribe.
Yep, there. No, thank you. And
You what?
and I hope you have sweet dreams.
Yes, I hope I have many more dreams that I can recall to you because I appreciate your time. And this is one of the greatest things that I've done other than read the Bible is be able to talk to you and Bill. It's really cool.
Well,
And I
I
appreciate everything you guys have done.
well, and definitely hit him up for some motorcycle riding.
Oh, I definitely want to. He's got to go for a ride with me. And if he's enticed into figuring out what this club's about, I think it might be right up his alley because if he was to get on this Monday night Bible study I do with these guys, I think he'd have a home. Not
Yep.
that he doesn't have one with you, but
I get
he would have a place.
nope, I get you. All right.
Yeah,
Well, great night and thank you.
absolutely.